In this video, I'm going to take a look at this LiTime Marine Battery for electric outboard motors. If you're wondering what the difference is between a marine battery for an electric outboard motor, a marine starting battery, a dual-purpose marine battery, or a trolling motor battery, then keep watching and I'll tell you what I've discovered. I'm also going to do a full teardown of this battery and a review. So this battery has some key differences I think you'll find very interesting, so stay tuned. If you do already know the difference between marine battery types like this, then you may want to use the YouTube chapters feature to skip down to the review of this battery. So there are basically 4 types of marine batteries for use in a boat with an outboard motor. The first one is like this one. It's the LiTime Marine Battery for electric outboard motors. This battery happens to be a 12-volt lithium iron phosphate 100 amp hour battery, which I'll cover more of the specifics later in the video when I do the review. But this type of battery is specifically designed for electrically powered outboard boat motors like these from ePropulsion, Mercury, and others. These electric outboard motors are an alternative to your typical fuel-powered outboard motor. These outboard motors come in 12, 24, 36, 48, and even 60 volts. So mentioning 60 volts outboard motor makes me think of a feature that's different about this one. Whereas most lithium iron phosphate batteries can only be wired 4 in series, resulting in a 48 volt battery bank, this battery can actually be wired 5 in series, which will result in 60 volts nominal voltage. So you can use this battery with a combination of your other electronics, like even your trolling motor. Okay, the second type of marine battery is a marine starting battery, which LiTime also makes. Starting batteries are specifically designed for very high amperage bursts necessary to start up a gasoline-powered outboard motor. Unless the battery specifically states it is a starting battery or a cranking battery, then it is not designed for that. The other 3 marine battery types I'm discussing here should not be used for starting a motor. From what I've discovered, it is difficult to combine the performance of a deep cycle battery and a starting battery into one battery. Both types are engineered to do totally different things, but they actually do make one, and it's called a dual-purpose marine battery. And that's not what this is, but LiTime does make those also. It is designed specifically to be both a starting battery and also have the high performance of a deep cycle battery. So you would be able to use that battery for both starting a motor and also use it with electronics and maybe even a trolling motor. I did notice on LiTime's dual-purpose battery that it has 140 amp hours instead of 100 amp hours like these other batteries. And the last type of marine battery is a trolling motor battery. And as you can imagine, LiTime also makes those. Those batteries are specifically designed to be used with trolling motors. Trolling motors batteries are designed for higher demands than your typical deep cycle battery, but they are not designed for the higher demands of an electric outboard motor. So you could power a trolling motor with an electric outboard motor like this, a battery like this one, but you should not power an electric outboard motor with a trolling motor battery. And here's the difference between an electric outboard motor battery and trolling motor batteries as explained on LiTime's website. You can pause the video to read the entire difference. So that's the difference between these 4 types of marine batteries. If I open them all 4 up inside, you may be surprised to find they basically look very similar inside, if not exactly the same. So what's the difference then? Well, I don't have all 4 types to open up and show you. I will be opening this battery up and show you a little bit later in the video. But I imagine the difference lies in the BMS and the programming of that BMS. Also, the sizing of the wires, maybe the bus bars, perhaps the lithium iron phosphate cells are actually different too. But there wouldn't be a very big visual difference at all. Okay, so now let's get into the review of this battery. As I mentioned earlier, this is a 12-volt lithium iron phosphate 100 amp hour battery specifically designed for use with marine electric outboard motors. If you're new to batteries like this and you're not sure what lithium iron phosphate means or 100 amp hours means, I'll leave a link below to my website down below in the description where I'll explain all that terminology to you. This battery does have some unique features, which I'll mention in just a minute, but it also has some very common features found on most other lithium iron phosphate 100 amp hour batteries. It has an ABS plastic case, a removable nylon strap, a waterproof rating of IP65, has color-coded terminals with M8 studs. It's rated at 4,000 plus deep cycles at 100% depth of discharge, which just means its performance will not degrade for 10 years of daily use, going from 100% to 0 back to 100% every day. It weighs 26.2 pounds, and it's a Group 31 size battery. And it has a 5-year warranty. And I'll leave a description down below for the link to their website where you can find all the other details I didn't mention here. But some other noteworthy items that make this battery different is that you can discharge it at 120 amps for 3 minutes, or 300 amps for 10 seconds, or even 500 amps for 1 second. As mentioned earlier, this battery can also be wired 5 in series. I believe that's the first time I've seen that for a lithium iron phosphate battery. It also has Bluetooth built in, so you can use the mobile app to check the state of charge in real time. It also has cold cutoff protection, which just means it keeps you from damaging the battery. It won't allow you to charge it below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and you can't discharge it under -4 degrees Fahrenheit. Now for some testing. When the battery arrived, it was only at 3 volts for some reason. I'm not really sure why that was. I would have thought there would be no voltage if it was asleep. I tried to connect the mobile app via Bluetooth, but that wouldn't work either. I hooked up the charger for just a few seconds, maybe 3 seconds, and now it shows just under 13.2 volts. I guess the battery was asleep and I woke it up. I believe any 12-volt source would have woke the battery up. After charging up the battery, I did run a capacity test, and it came in overstated capacity at 102 amp hours and 1292 watt hours. So now it's time for a max load test. So LiTime says this battery can pull 300 amps for 10 seconds or 500 amps for 1 second. So I thought about how to do 500 amps for 1 second. I can't quite get there. So I'm going to just test the 300 amps for 10 seconds. So what I have here is I have 2 inverters. I have this one inverter here that is plugged into space heater on the floor. And I have this inverter here plugged into this power strip. And into that power strip, I have both this old halogen lamp and this oil heater. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in, have the clamp meter here on both. I have all wires, positive wires, for plug that's hooked to the battery, so we can see how many amps it's drawing. And I'm going to zoom in to that as I turn things on, and we'll see if we can run this for 10 seconds. Let me position so I can get a good view of the clamp meter. Okay, so I've got the camera positioned here on the clamp meter. I have that clamped around all the wires going to the battery, the positive wires. Got it zoomed in here so you can see this, and I have a timer in my hand. I'll show you that as soon as I get it going. But the first thing I'm going to do is turn on the space heater on the floor to high, and that gets us up well above 100 amps. Now I'm going to kick on the power strip that turned on the halogen light. We're well above 300 amps. Let me get this in view here. Just started the timer. No problem drawing that at 320 amps. So this test passed. So now I'm going to do one more max load test here. I have this 3000 watt inverter hooked to the LiTime battery, and I have plugged into the inverter. I have this big DeWalt miter saw here, and I don't believe I have ever been able to start that thing up with a single 12 volt 100 amp hour battery. I may have, I just can't remember, but this should do it according, because we just ran a over 300 amps for 10 seconds, so this should do it no problem. But let's just see. We'll zoom in here to show you, and I'm going to set this to max to show you the max amps that it drew. So let me hit this miter saw. And that was no problem. 234 amps. Okay, now I'm going to open this battery up. Let's see what's inside. Okay, I've got it opened up, and yes, it does take all this to get the thing open. It's not, they are sealed very, very well, very difficult to break into. Okay, let's see what's under here. I have to spin it around. There's a lot blinking there. I'll take a look at that in a minute. But let's see if I can get this pulled out of the case and have a better look. Okay, got it pulled out of the case, and I've already checked all these wire connections. Everything on here is very tight, glued where it won't come loose. And let me take this top off so we can take a better look. Okay, I got the top pulled off. I've put it on this turntable. I can spin it around. I've got the battery wires here taped up for safety. So the blinking light is Bluetooth radio, and it was blinking a minute ago, and then I connected to it with my mobile app on my phone and it went solid. So I'm assuming that means we have a current connection and it's not in standby mode. The temperature sensors is coming out right here. There's one that runs under the BMS, and it stays in there on the BMS, but temperature sensor runs all the way down, all the way down to there. That little glob of glue right there in the middle. I'll be pulling that off and testing it in just a second. The padding has holes for the cell vent, so it can vent if it needs to, so that's good. Laser welded bus bars, everything looks good. As I mentioned, everything is glued and tightened down very well. We do have, I pulled this off just a second ago, we do have a LiTime branded BMS. I'll zoom in on that for you. On this side we have just a Bluetooth sticker. And we spin it around to see if there's anything else to see here. The cells are on their side, as I mentioned. Let's see if I can get a shot of the barcode for the cells. Okay, so I was able to pull up the edge here, found the barcode here. I will scan that and show on the screen what it shows about these cells. Okay, it seems that these cells are great power cells. Okay, now I'm going to do some low temperature charge protection testing. So I've got the charger hooked up here. It's running currently. The battery's around 90%. I'm going to see if I can hook up this cold pack to the temperature sensor, which is right there. So let me hook this up, or put the cold pack to it, and let's see if this works. And hey, it worked. Low temperature charge protection does work. Now let's warm it up. My fingers are cold, but let me warm it up. It should start charging. And there we go. Passed. Okay, now I'm going to test the low temperature discharge protection. So I've got an inverter hooked up to the battery here. I've got this old space heater plugged into this inverter. And I just currently got the fan running right now. But what you want to pay attention to is this red light right here. It shows the power zone, and you'll hear if the inverter turns off, it'll make a big beep. But let me hit the little low temperature sensor on the battery here with some duster. It's very, very cold. Let's see. See if that turns off the light. And there we go. The inverter turned off and the space heater turned off. So let me warm this up, see if I can get it turned back on. There we go. I heard the inverter cut back on, and then there is the light and the fans running on the space heater. Okay, that passed too. I just want to jump in here real quick. I forgot to mention this earlier when I was doing the overview of this. The wire size, this main positive wire here, we have two, but this main positive wire that runs up to the lid that connects to the terminals, it's fully jacketed, which is awesome, but I couldn't tell what the wire size is. So the only thing I have to go on here is the lug, and it shows, this lug at least, is for an 8-gauge wire. So that must be what we're dealing with here. So I just wanted to quickly show you the mobile app. There's not much in here to show you really. It shows the state of charge at 88%, how much power is being used, the current voltage, capacity remaining, and these little buttons down below like the balance cells and BMS. If you click one, currently it's saying the battery cells are balanced. I did notice at one time I looked in here, it said balancing the cells. So I guess these will show you information, like if the cells are not normal, they would show you something, or the BMS was not normal, it would show you the problem. It's got temperature, cycle times, firmware version. You can rename the battery if you want to. So down at the bottom right, the little icon on the very bottom right here, if you click that, it will actually take you here to where you can turn off discharge of the battery, or you can completely power off the battery. That's about it. It's a real basic mobile app, but useful. So that covers my review of this LiTime Marine Battery for electric outboard motors. If you watched my channel before, then you may have seen the video review I did on LiTime's Group 24 battery, which I found to be high quality. And this LiTime battery is no different. I find it to be a really good battery, and I highly recommend it. There are plenty of other highly rated reviews on YouTube of other LiTime batteries. Although this battery would be a solid choice as a marine outboard electric motor battery, which is what it is, but you could use it for so much more, as I plan to. At the time I'm filming this video, it happens to be around Black Friday, and the price is fluctuating. I've seen it be different a few times now. So instead of mentioning the price here, that would probably be wrong, if you're interested in the battery, I will leave a link below. You click that and you can go find the price. If I have a coupon code, I will also include that down below by the video. Hopefully save you a few bucks. Well, I guess that wraps up this video. I really hope you enjoyed the information I shared on marine batteries and the review I did of this excellent LiTime battery. If you enjoyed this video, I encourage you to press the like button so YouTube will recommend it to more people, which will really help out my channel. Thanks for watching.